from the TechWorld Bangladesh archives, specifically from January 2026. And the theme today is, well, it's clear. The tech industry is having a bit of an identity crisis.
That's a very polite way of putting it. I would say we're witnessing a splintering, a real divergence in philosophy.
Or splintering, okay, that sounds dramatic.
It is dramatic. On one side, you have the hardware manufacturers, companies like OPPO and Samsung, still trying to wow us with physical objects.
Launching them on beaches, obsessing over hinges.
Exactly. But then on the other side, you have giants basically saying the physical world is dead, long live AI.
That's heavy. But you're referring to the Asus news, right?
Oh, absolutely. The Asus story in this stack is the canary in the coal mine. It changes the whole game.
We are going to get deep into that because if Asus is really exiting the phone game, that's a massive signal. But we have a roadmap to cover first. We're starting with that beach launch from OPPO, looking at Samsung's quest for the perfect folding screen, and then diving into digital hygiene for our daily apps.
Like WhatsApp and Gmail.
Yeah, and finally, that massive pivot from Asus.
From the sand to the silicon.
Exactly. So let's go back to Cox's Bazaar. The source puts a huge emphasis on the location for the OPPO Reno 15 series 5G launch. It wasn't a convention center in Vegas.
No, it was Cox's Bazaar.
Which is huge, right?
For context, it's widely recognized as the longest natural sea beach in the world. We're talking about 120 kilometers of sand.
So why there? I mean, logistically, that sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, for sure.
Sand in the equipment, the wind, why do it?
Because of the signal it sends.
Yeah.
By 2026, let's be honest, smartphones are a little boring.
Yeah, they're glass rectangles.
They're glass rectangles. If you stand on the stage and hold up a rectangle, nobody gasps anymore. But if you stand on the edge of the ocean, representing limitless horizons or nature meets future, suddenly you aren't selling a phone specification sheet, you're selling a lifestyle. It's the Instagrammability of the launch event itself.
So it's spectacle over specs.
To a degree, yeah. But the specs are still the anchor. You notice that teaser in the source text.
The 120 mystery, yes. The text just says OPPO Reno 15 120, and it cuts off. My brain immediately went to 120 hertz refresh rate.
Which is the safe bet. By 2026, 120 hertz is, table stakes for any premium device.
I nod along when I see 120 hertz, but for you, the listener, who hears that and just thinks big number good, what does that actually mean for your eyeballs?
So standard screens, like old TVs or budget phones, they refresh the image 60 times a second. 120 hertz doubles that.
Yep.
It means when you scroll through your Instagram feed, the text doesn't blur or ghost. It looks like a physical piece of paper moving behind glass. It's that buttery smooth feeling.
Right, that marketing loves to talk about. But could 120 be charging? Because OPPO is obsessed with fast charging.
It could be. 120-watt charging would be significant. That would mean going from, 0 to 100% battery in roughly 15 to 20 minutes?
Which fundamentally changes how you live. You don't charge overnight anymore.
No.
You charge while you shower.
Precisely. You plug it in, go make coffee, come back, and you're good for the day.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Whether it's the screen or the charging, these are incremental gains.
Slightly smoother, slightly faster.
Exactly. And that's why they need the beach. The tech has plateaued, so the marketing has to compensate with these grand visuals.
Speaking of plateauing, let's look at someone trying to break through one. We have to talk about Samsung and Galaxy Z Fold 8.
Right. And this is a different strategy entirely. If OPPO is doing spectacle, Samsung is doing surgery.
The source mentions a new display structure to address the crease, and I have to ask, we are at the Fold 8, why are we still talking about the crease?
Because physics is stubborn. I mean, you're taking a material that needs to be hard enough to touch and protect pixels, but flexible enough to bend 180 degrees thousands of times.
Right.
That creates stress. The crease is essentially the material's memory of being folded.
It's like folding a piece of paper. You can flatten it out, but that line is always there.
It is. But Samsung's new display structure suggests they aren't just trying to iron it out, they're changing the composition of the paper, so to speak. Likely moving layers around, perhaps using different polymers that don't retain that memory.
The source highlights this as a major selling point. Is the market really that sensitive to a little groove in the screen?
It's the barrier to entry for the mass market.
Yeah.
Early adopters, the tech nerds, will tolerate a crease because the idea of a folding phone is cool.
Sure.
But if you want to sell a $2,000 phone to a normal person, they look at that crease and they think broken. They think fragile.
So this isn't just cosmetic, it's about trust.
It's about maturity. The source is telling us that the hardware wars have moved from look what we can do to look how perfectly we can do it.
The difference between a concept car and a production luxury sedan.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we have spectacle from OPPO, refinement from Samsung, but then comes the bombshell, Asus.
This is the story that should make every tech investor sit up straight.
The headline is blunt. Not mobile, Asus's vision is on artificial intelligence. And it explicitly says company announcements suggest they will not be bringing new mobile phones to market.
Just pause on that for a second. Asus.
Yeah.
The creators of the ROG phone, arguably the best gaming phone ever made, the Zenfone series, which was the darling of tech reviewers, they're looking at the biggest consumer electronics market in history and saying, we fold.
And not in the Samsung way.
Not in the Samsung way, no.
Why? I mean, people are glued to their phones. Why leave?
Because the smartphone market is a red ocean.
A red ocean.
It's a business strategy term. The water is red because of all the blood from the sharks fighting over the same fish.
Okay, got it.
To compete with Apple and Samsung, you need billions in marketing, insane supply chains, and you're fighting for razor-thin margins. Asus is looking at the math and realizing the game is rigged against them.
So where are they going? The blue ocean?
The AI ocean. The source says they are shifting full attention to artificial intelligence.
But what does that actually mean? Are they making a robot? A chatbot?
The source doesn't specify products, but we can read the tea leaves. Focusing on AI usually means infrastructure.
Okay.
It means servers, edge computing, specialized hardware that runs the AI.
Pickaxes and shovels.
Exactly. During the gold rush, the people who got rich weren't the ones digging for gold. It was the ones selling the shovels. Asus is betting that in 5 years, it won't matter what brand of phone you have in your pocket.
Huh.
What will matter is the cloud intelligence running your life. And they want to own the hardware that powers that.
That connects back to what you said earlier about the splintering. Asus is betting the device is becoming irrelevant.
Or at least a commodity. If the phone is just a dumb glass screen that connects you to a smart AI, then why spend billions developing a better camera? The value is moving from the edge, the device, to the center.
To the brain.
To the brain.
That is a massive gamble. But if they're right, they avoid the smartphone plateau entirely.
They skip the beach launch and go straight to the server room.
Yeah.
It's a move from the tangible to the intangible. And that actually leads us perfectly into the second half of our deep dive.
Right.
Because if Asus is right, and it's all about software and AI now, that brings up a whole new set of problems for us, the users.
It does. We call this digital hygiene.
Which is a term I love, even if most of us have terrible hygiene in this regard.
Let's start with the big one, WhatsApp. The source highlights a number that made my jaw drop. 3 billion users.
Half the planet. It's hard to wrap your head around that scale.
The source warns, the greater the number of users, the greater the risk. It mentions scammers, data theft, the works.
Well, think about it from a criminal's perspective.
Yeah.
If you write a piece of malware or a phishing script for WhatsApp, you have a potential target list of 3 billion people.
Wow.
It's the single largest attack surface in human history.
And yet we treat it like a casual chat app. The source mentions 8 secret security features. Now, I hate the word secret here. They are right there in the settings menu.
They're secret because of user apathy.
Yeah.
That's the point. How many listeners have actually turned on two-factor authentication for WhatsApp?
Oof.
Or set up the screen lock so you need Face ID just to open the app?
I'll be honest, I haven't checked my WhatsApp settings in years. I just assume it works.
And that is exactly what the scammers rely on.
Yeah.
The source is essentially screaming, lock your digital doors. Because with 3 billion people, there are a lot of wolves wandering around the village. On a platform that large, security isn't just something that happens to you. You have to actively participate in it.
Right. It's like having a deadbolt on your door, but never turning the key. The feature's there, but it's a secret if you don't use it.
Exactly. This is a call to action. When was the last time you actually checked your privacy settings? Because WhatsApp is convenient, we get complacent. We just text and forget.
Text and forget, that's dangerous. And speaking of complacency, let's talk about Gmail. This source is really interesting because it highlights a conflict.
Yeah.
It says Gmail in the AI era. Along with convenience, privacy concerns are growing.
This is the central tension of our time. Convenience versus privacy. It's the Faustian bargain.
The source mentions that Gmail is the hub for everything. Office work, personal messages, bank alerts, it's all there. And now, AI is stepping in to make managing that easier.
Summarizing emails, suggesting replies.
But there's a catch.
There is always a catch. To give you convenience, like summarizing your emails, the AI has to read your emails. It has to ingest the content of your life to be helpful.
It's like hiring a personal assistant. They can organize your life, but they also know all your secrets.
Precisely. And the question this source raises is, are we okay with that trade-off? We're moving into an era where our email service isn't just a digital postman delivering letters.
Yeah.
It is becoming an active participant in our communication. It's reading, analyzing, and suggesting. The source warns that as these features increase, the thought of privacy increases too.
It really makes you think about how much we're willing to give up just to save a few minutes of typing. Do I want Google's AI to know that I'm arguing with my insurance company?
Right.
Do I want it to know the details of my medical results so it can summarize them for me?
It feels invasive when you put it that way, but it's so helpful. And that's how the trap works. Convenience is the ultimate drug. We will give up almost anything if it makes our morning routine 5% smoother.
So what's the lesson?
The digital hygiene lesson here is awareness. You don't have to turn it off, but you need to know what you're trading.
It is a lot to manage, and when things go wrong, it feels like there is nowhere to turn. Which brings us to the last piece of our stack, Facebook.
Yes. The source dealing with Facebook troubleshooting.
It lists the common headaches: login problems, confusion over features, getting locked out. And it specifically mentions the frustration users feel.
You know that feeling.
Oh, I do. You just want to talk to a human, but you're stuck in a loop of help articles.
And it connects back to the scale issue we saw with WhatsApp. When you have billions of users, individual support is impossible. You're essentially on your own.
Right.
The source is trying to guide users on where to find solutions, which is usually a buried help center or a community forum.
It's the flip side of the free internet. You aren't the customer, you are the user base. Customers get support.
User bases get FAQs. That is a brilliant way to put it. When you aren't paying for the product, you don't get the service. You're on your own island.
Wow. Okay, let's try to pull this thread all the way through. We started on a beach in Bangladesh with a shiny new OPO phone. We watched Samsung engineer the perfect folding screen. Then we saw Asus look at that whole scene and say, no thanks, we're doing AI. And finally, we looked at the apps running on those phones and realized we are trading our privacy for convenience.
It is a transition story. We're moving from the era of the device to the era of the intelligence.
The device is just the portal.
Exactly. 10 years ago, the most interesting thing in tech was the shape of the phone. Today, the most interesting thing is the invisible code running on servers that predicts what you want to say before you say it.
Which explains why Asus is pivoting. They want to own the code, not the shape.
And it explains why Samsung is refining the crease. They need the hardware to be invisible so you focus on the software.
Oh.
If the screen is perfect, you forget the screen exists and you just interact with the content.
This leaves me with a really strange feeling. We're getting better tech, but it feels like we have less control over it.
That is the provocation I want to leave the listener with today.
Lay it on us.
If a major hardware player like Asus is saying, no more phones, only AI, and if our primary communication tools like Gmail are saying, give us your privacy, we will give you AI convenience, are we actually preparing ourselves for a future where the device doesn't matter at all?
Whoa.
Think about it. Are we heading toward a world where we are device agnostic, but AI dependent? Meaning it doesn't matter if you buy the OPPO or the Samsung. It doesn't matter if it folds or not. What matters is which AI owns your data. Which algorithm knows your mother's birthday and your bank balance. We're worrying about the screen refresh rate while the real battle is happening over our digital souls.
That is slightly terrifying, but also incredibly exciting. It means our digital habits matter more than our digital purchases.
Exactly. So before you go out and buy that new phone with the 100 and whatever refresh rate, maybe take 5 minutes and check your privacy settings on the apps you already have.
Solid advice. Check those secret WhatsApp features, people.
It's the best upgrade you can get for free.
Thank you so much for riding along on this deep dive with us today. From the beaches of Bangladesh to the depths of your inbox, it has been a journey.
Always a pleasure. Stay curious and stay secure.
See you next time.